Welcome to another video from Dr. Lock. On the bench I have ADI 444 double block lock front mount, and the reason I've got this lock on the bench is because I need to reconfigure the cylinder from a restricted cylinder into a standard one because it wasn't used for a job. So what I'll quickly do is I'll take you through and I'll give you a brief explanation of how this lock works. So you've got two parts on the door and you have a bolt. Now this bolt slides in from this direction and it captures at the back into this lock here on this groove right about here, so it goes right through. Now you can get different sizes bolts, so depending on where you put the doors or depending on where the frame is. For this one here it's just the standard one, so that will go through and those bolts will be mounted fairly tight like that, giving about a 5mm gap. So it's a good lock for sliding doors. You can use this on so many different applications. You just name it, toolboxes, you can use it just about anywhere. I'll quickly show you what it looks like completely fitted. If you can, you turn it. So these two parts would be on the door like this, and then this bolt would transfer into this one here. Where are we? There. Go all the way in, you lock it into position, and you've got a variant on this particular bolt here. We do have longer bolts as well. The instructions for it, I'll quickly show you them as well. Normally they come in a sticker formation, but this one here unfortunately just has a photocopy. So there's the lock there. The lock can go on the left or the right. So to simulate that, basically around to there. Okay, so you mount the lock on one side, and then you can actually have different adjustments on this side. So you can have different tolerances if you want to give it a little bit of movement or not. Best to just give it a couple of mil of movement because you don't want it to be too tight. So let's just take it out now and let's just go through the rekey. So I'm going to be changing this back to a standard C4 key. So to start off with, this lock is actually mounted. Because it's a front mount one, you've got what we call like sex bolts, where you've got the nut into like a standoff that goes all the way through, and they're made of stainless steel. And from the back here you've got these Allen key long bolts, so you just basically bolt it. So to install this lock it's extremely simple. You need to just drill 4 holes, 1, 2, 3, 4, and you go through with the like the tower bolts from one side, and then you screw the nuts up from the back. So it's a really good mounting lock. People in other countries might not have this lock, so that's why I show it to you, because it's interesting, and it's a very easy to use lock. So I'm just going to do a quick rekey on it. So you take off that back screw, and you take off the back plastic, and you come along here with Phillips head screwdriver, you remove the cam screws. Remove the cam screws, one just fell into the grease. There we are there. Then we take this cam out. This cam is only designed for this particular lock. So I'll just take it out, and there's the shape of the cam, as you can see. Now we've got it in this position. We could slide the whole cylinder out, but it's got grease on it, so I don't want to. So I'm just putting my finger there and turning it. Once it's turned quarter of a turn, I can then follow through with my follower, pushing it out. Okay, now it's time to just grab another plug and a couple of keys on top of the white fridge. Okay, so I've got myself a new plug, and I've got myself a couple of change keys. So now we'll just go through and rekey this. Okay, so the first one's fairly deep, it's probably an 8. Oh, it's a 9. Okay, second one, let's try a 6. Yep, 6 is good. Let's try a 4. Yep, that's good. Next one, let's try a 7. No, it's an 8. Yep, that's good. And then the last couple looks like a 7 and a 7. Fairly deep key. Nope, it's an 8. Let's try one more 8. Okay, so now all the pins are in and they're corresponding with the key. So the shear line, which is the diameter of this actual plug, will match, and the pins are not high, they're not low, so the key will be able to determine when it's top pin loaded in the cylinder. So I'm just holding my follower, putting pressure on my plug, pushing it all the way back, and then rotating it back to the 12 o'clock position. and it's not clicking and there's no problems. I have to give it a little pinch so the plug doesn't come out of the housing and doesn't jam with the top pins, and I pull my key out. This part's just fallen in my hand, but that's okay. I'll just put him down. Now I've got grease on my hands. So we take this little cam now, slide him back to where he lives, and we find our little cam screws. Here's one. So I put it on the end of the screwdriver like so, line it up into the hole, slight backwards turn and then a forwards turn once you've captured the thread, and rotating that until it's just about all the way home. Doing the same for the second one. These cam screws need to be done up tight. If they are not tight, they'll come loose. If they come loose, then you will have key alignment issues of getting the key out. You'll need to hold the plug to get your key out. So you want to do these tight, not too tight you break the head of the screw, not too tight you strip the head of the screw, but tight. As tight as you can get them without damaging it. Okay, now I put the key in and give it a little quarter of a turn. That gets the cam out of the way, so when I put this part back, which has two springs at the back of it, when I put this back in there, it has to be sitting all the way flush too. Make sure it's all the way down, all the way flush. Then we separate them, we put that rod in there, and we give it a turn. That is how this lock operates. This metal bar, when the cylinder cam is in the right position, it pushes this bit of dowel, this metal dowel, which then pushes this metal bar, which traps into this section right here. I'll simulate it. That goes into that position. Just turn that down. Now that rod is trapped in there. Okay, let's turn it back. You can put a bit more grease on this if you wish. It's always good. That's the factory grease. That's about as much as from factory, so that should be okay. Just putting my one screw back and the plastic cover back on the back of the lock. Tight. And that's it. We've rekeyed it to a standard key. It's the double block lock front mount made by ADI, rekeying it. Thanks for watching.